Now we're going to talk about decanting wine. Not every wine needs decanted, and typically we would talk about old wines being decanted, but sometimes that's the worst thing you can do for a very old bottle of wine, because as the wine oxygenates when it goes into decanter, it can cause the fruit to fade quite quickly. So sometimes an old wine should just be stood up for 48 hours to allow any sediment to settle, and then be poured very, very gently. The same can be said of a vintage port. It's not necessary all the time to decant. Having said that, decanters come in all shapes and sizes, and for me, part of the joy of decanting is that it's actually a bit of fun, and it can add to the celebration. It can add to the fun at the dinner table, if you like. Decanters can be quite expensive, or they can be relatively inexpensive. Depends on your budget, and there isn't any right or any wrong. But I'm going to introduce a couple of perhaps novel ideas. First one is decanting white wine. With a lighter white, the colour tends to be very pale. But as you move up the richness scale of whites, and this is an oak Chardonnay, then it can actually look very, very attractive in the decanter. So you hold the decanter to the side and just pour the wine gently down the side of the decanter. And as you can see with this white, you've actually got a really gorgeous golden colour in the decanter, and it can look absolutely beautiful on the dinner table. The next wine for decanting is a rosé. Absolutely no need at all to decant a rosé, apart from the decadent fun of having a rosé on the dinner table in a decanter. The colour's gorgeous, it looks absolutely stunning, and it looks really beautiful with things like salads and so on, and it can add to the occasion. We don't tend to decant dessert wines. They tend to be a really beautiful, rich colour, but sometimes they come in brown bottles. So again, they can look really nice if they're decanted, and you can really see the colour of the wine in the decanter. You don't have to be expensive, as I mentioned. This bottle here becomes this bottle there, and it's great for future decanting at the dinner table. If you do need to decant something, and this is actually a late bottled vintage port, so technically doesn't need decanted, but these types of gadgets can be bought in nice wine shops. There's a small sieve inside, so if you thought you did have any sediment, then you just simply pop it in and pour the wine into the decanter, just gently. If you don't have one of these gadgets, then the sneaky trick is a coffee filter, and that works just as well. Just have to pour very, very gently, and the wine just starts to slowly drip through. So that's a very easy way. If you think you have sediment in your bottle and you're worried about it, then that's an easy way to make sure that it doesn't go into your wine glass. Is just to very slowly run it through a coffee filter before you decant.